What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of BnG. So this episode is going to be a little bit different from the episodes we've had before. This is going to be a quick update episode. If you guys ever listen to the Washington football team podcast, you know they do their emergency podcast whenever some big news happens. So we're just going to call this the update episode. You know, don't want to jock their swag too much. But yesterday, just give you guys a timestamp on today's date. Today is actually Tuesday, March 16th, and late last night, on the first day of the free agency tampering period, the Washington football team signed quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick to a one-year, $10 million deal that can be worth up to $12 million. I'm just here to give you guys my opinions on it really quick. So this is going to be a short episode. And personally, I'm kind of fair weather on the move. I don't hate it. But I don't know how much I like it. Don't get me wrong. I do think that Ryan Fitzpatrick is the best quarterback on the roster right now. So that means that I think that he's better than Kyle Allen and Taylor Heineke to this point. But if you guys have been listening to this podcast in recent time, you guys know that I was looking for a needle mover in free agency. I was looking for somebody that can take us from competing for the Super Wildcard weekend of the playoffs, the first weekend of the playoffs. You know, we just edged into the playoffs with a losing record at 7-9. I was looking for somebody that can take us to the top. And, you know, while I wasn't as, optimistic about getting one of those big-time quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson, I did think that, there were some needle movers that were actually available to get, such as, maybe a Marcus Mariota, even though I said in a previous episode that I don't really think Mariota was a needle mover. But I did think that a guy like Sam Darnold was a needle mover who, as of this point right now, is still on the New York Jets roster. So like I said, guys, I'm not mad at the move. Don't get me wrong. We upgraded at the quarterback position, so I can't hate the move too much. But I don't know if Ryan Fitzpatrick, or Fitzmagic as they call him, is that guy. Don't get me wrong. I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. You know, he's won me a couple fantasy football leagues. You know, he balls out. He's that type of quarterback. But, he's still, a journeyman. You know, he's still somebody that Washington will be his 9th team that he's played for in the NFL in his 17-year NFL career. He's still somebody that'll be turning 39 during this season. I think his birthday is in the middle of November. So he's not that guy that's going to establish that longevity that I've been looking for at the quarterback position that we've been looking for so many years, that we haven't had in over 25 years since I've been born. You know, I was born in 1995. I don't remember the last time that I really felt that the Washington football team quarterback position was secure and in good hands. I don't know if you guys are older than me listening. Maybe you guys can tell me, but I really don't know. And I don't think that this move puts it, solidifies it at all. So while I am, kind of spewing my negatives about the move, don't get me wrong. I think that, Ryan Tannehill can be that bridge QB. I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick can be that bridge QB. I do think that he's somebody that can have you winning the NFC East and being repeat champions, defending that NFC East title successfully. He's somebody that, like I said before, they call him Fitzmagic. He's somebody that strikes magic in a bottle every once in a while. I heard Shannon Sharp in Undisputed earlier today. It's like when he doesn't have expectations, he strikes lightning in a bottle. That's the only reason that he's still in the league. Because when he's about to go out, he has a super game or a super moment. Don't get me wrong. This past season, Ryan Fitzpatrick had the play of the season with that big throw against the Oakland Raiders to win the game after they took Tua out. So like I said, I still believe that Ryan Fitzpatrick is the best quarterback on the roster. So I do want to congratulate us in the Washington football team community because we did upgrade at a very important position, the most important position in the NFL and in football, period. So like I said, guys, I'm not too mad at the move, but I don't know how excited I am about it. Ryan Fitzpatrick, last year he did do his dues, but last season he threw for over 2,000 yards, only starting 7 games, and he didn't. I've seen a lot of people in the Washington football team community say, "Oh, but he was benched last season, so how good could he really be?" Guys, I wouldn't necessarily say that Ryan Fitzpatrick was benched because of his play last season. We got to remember that the Miami Dolphins did spend the number 5 pick on Tua Tagovailoa Tua Tagovailoa, and after their first 6 games, I think they started out 3-3, so they didn't really expect the Dolphins to turn out to be contending for a playoff spot as they ultimately ended up doing. So even looking back in retrospect, if I can remember correctly, Ryan Fitzpatrick actually missed the last game of the season, which the Dolphins had to win to actually qualify for the playoffs. And I do believe, I think that Brian Flores did say that Tua would have started that game, but I do think in the crunch time, if it came down to it, that they would have put Ryan Fitzpatrick in the game to actually help the team win for his best chances. Now like I talked about in that organizational alignment episode, I think that was episode 2 when our new GM hirings and things like that. The Dolphins weren't organizationally aligned. Flores talked about how some of the players were kind of questioning why Tua was coming in when they were 3-3 and competing for the AFC East that wasn't thought to be as strong, with the Patriots not being contenders for the division this year. So a lot of guys were questioning it, and I think that Brian Flores came out, like I said before, and actually admitted to it. Like some guys were wondering like why are we doing this to Fitzmagic now? But that's coming from the guys over top. That's coming from the GM, the owner, the team president, the guys that actually have invested in this asset and actually needs to see this thing through. So like I said, guys, and we still, even at this point in the offseason, I'm not sure that the Dolphins know that they're sold on Tua Tagovailoa. So I'm not knocking them, but don't think that Ryan Fitzpatrick was benched because of bad play. Like I said, last season he threw for over 2,000 yards in just 7 starts, and he had about a 96 percentage quarterback rating. So he's coming off a pretty strong year. He didn't finish the season as he would have liked. And then if we can remember, a couple weeks ago there were rumors about Ryan Fitzpatrick actually considering retirement, and this was one of the things that turned me off when I first heard the news, because like I said, a couple weeks ago we heard about the news about him considering retirement because he didn't have necessarily the options that he was looking for out there. But that report did get quickly refuted by his camp, by Fitzpatrick's camp. But once that news didn't get out there, it wasn't leaked for no reason. If you have any experience with leaks and things like that, somebody put it out there. And I'm not saying that, somebody did it with any malicious intent, but if I do take that information with a grain of salt, I do have to question, is Ryan Fitzpatrick's, heart all the way in there like we need him to be to compete for Super Bowls? Like I need him to. Like I think that this defense is capable of doing. So these are some of the questions that I have why I'm not so ecstatic about the move. That, and like I said before, the age. Like I said, I know that we only signed him for a 1-year deal, but we need some longevity. We need to solidify that quarterback position at some point. We need to. Now, one thing that I do like about Ryan Fitzpatrick is that I think I know that his nickname is like Fitzmagic, but to me, Ryan Fitzpatrick is like a chameleon. He can adapt to any setting. I remember when he first got benched last year, he was pretty upset. And he told the media how upset he was. But that never deterred him from nurturing Tua or helping Tua develop. To him talking to Tua on the sidelines, keeping a positive vibe around Tua, and even, he's been in so many situations in these 17 years without these, 8 franchises that he has played with before the Washington football team. He had the instance where, if you guys don't remember, at the beginning of 2018, he started off the season throwing for 2 straight 400-yard passing games. And everybody was like, whoa, like, is this guy going to take Jameis's spot? And then ultimately he did kind of fizzle out. But, he never trashed Jameis in the media. He was always helpful and beneficial to Jameis, from what I can see from my naked eye, up in the District of Columbia, the DMV area, and hearing reports out of Tampa. It was never like any rift between Ryan Fitzpatrick towards Jameis, and he just adapted to so many scenarios that he's been in. So I do think that he's a perfect quarterback to slide in if you really think that Kyle Allen or Taylor Heineke can eventually be that guy. I think we do forget that Taylor Heineke is kind of on the older end of the spectrum. I think he's about 27 or 28 years old, and we kind of like don't think that because he's had about 2 NFL starts, and he hasn't really established footing in the NFL. But he is on the older end of the spectrum. So one of the questions I have is like, how long do we plan on developing guys like these? And if you do think that they're the answer, do they eventually usurp Ryan Fitzpatrick on the depth chart in the middle of the season, no matter how good Fitzpatrick is doing, kind of like he got treated in Miami this past season? So like I don't think that's going to happen, but are we going to have a short lease with Ryan Fitzpatrick, knowing that we have a quarterback that we're paying $4 million to and another quarterback that we've extended exclusive rights free agents an exclusive rights tender on in Kyle Allen? These are some of the questions that I have with this signing, and this signing didn't necessarily answer them. So like I said, I do expect Ryan Fitzpatrick to come in and start. I don't think that he would have signed with Washington if he didn't expect to start, especially with that report coming out that he didn't really have many options out there. But I do expect him to start this season, and while I do think he's an upgrade at the quarterback position, at this moment, like I said, we've all known Ryan Fitzpatrick, and like Shannon Sharp said in the episode earlier today, he tends to fold when the expectations are on him. We know Fitz magic. Like I said, you saw that great play that he made against the Raiders last year, the magic in the bottle, the sparks that he has. But then there's a downside to Ryan Fitzpatrick where he's lost almost, or I think about 30 more games than he's won in the NFL. And guys like that and stats like that usually would kick you out the league before you get to your 17th season. But he's always able to have that lightning in a bottle moment where he's just going off and going crazy. If I can remember, him balling out against the Patriots, I think the last game of the season to knock the Patriots like out of the 1 seed in the 2019 season, and nobody expected the Dolphins to win that game. So I do think that we upgraded at the quarterback position, and that can only be applauded. I do think we could have got a lot better, but it's not like we wasted it a bunch of money. Like I said, it's a $10 million deal that can potentially cost up to $12 million to Fitzpatrick. But I don't think that we've solidified the quarterback position, and that's something that I was hoping to do this offseason. So with this move being made, I don't think that we're in the market for a quarterback at 19 anymore. So you guys know that kind of means that my dream of drafting Trey Lance is kind of over. I'm kind of pretty sad about that, kind of pretty bummed out about that, because I just watched his pro day just last week, and while he did miss some throws, he did show the exceptional arm talent and the freak athlete that he is that can potentially dominate this sport. And I honestly mean that about Trey Lance. He's the type of athlete that if he ever hones in on those passing skills, and it's not crazy. Like I said, he had a 29 touchdown and 0 interception season. So how bad is his accuracy? But if he can hone in on it on the NFL level, he can be a guy that takes over this league. So all in all, we're going to wrap up this episode pretty soon. Like I said, guys, this was just a quick episode giving you guys my thoughts on the Ryan Fitzpatrick signing. I do think that this signing can have us competing for the division again. I don't know if it just makes us outright, solidified favorites. I never really had that conclusion or that, thinking after the end of this season going into the 2021 season because of the quarterback position. And I don't know while we did upgrade, I don't know if we made a big enough upgrade to, set ourselves way in front of our competition. But I do think that we should be the favorites, just not, a landslide or anything like that. But I do think, we have the best overall team. I am curious to see some of the moves that we make continuing free agency. Has been pretty quiet on the Washington football front for the first 2 days. But like I said, guys, we're going to end this episode pretty quickly. Always, as I ask at the end of every episode, if you guys can follow my Twitter and my Instagram, my social media pages. First, my Instagram is at BnG. That's BleeDing BnG. And then my Twitter is at BleedingBNG as well, but it's a tad bit different on the spelling of the handle. For the Twitter, it's at BleeDinBNG. So so only one B in the Twitter handle. And then also you can follow us and subscribe to our YouTube page. Please, your subscriptions matter. All the interaction that you guys give me, all the impressions that you guys give me on YouTube and in the comment section of the podcast as well. That matters. Trust me, your feedback matters. I look at you guys' feedback after every episode and I take it into consideration as I continue to grow this platform. So like I said, guys, that's just my opinions on Ryan Tannehill. I appreciate all you guys' support, and please be on the lookout, because if we get a big signing pretty soon, we're going to come back Bleeding BnG with another update episode letting you know our opinions on that signing as well. So thank you. See you guys later.